By Starfish Speaks. The views and opinions expressed are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of this station or its management.
WERE 1490, and we're so pleased to be here to bring you current information about resources in our community, current events in education, hot topics, and ideas to make parenting your special needs child enriching and hopefully fun. So we want to quickly send a goodwill, best wishes, and get well soon to your regular host, Donna Gilcher. She's out sick today. We wish her a speedy recovery. But as always, her trusty and wonderful co-host, Greg Stewart, is here. Hey, Greg.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
So we're going to put together the same kind of discussion Donna has every week. So we're happy to be highlighting today Services for Inclusion with Catherine Foley, and she's the executive director. And I think what I wanted to say was Services for Independent Living. Yes. Oh, see, it's such a good team. I got such a good team here. It's fantastic. Yes. So Catherine Foley's here. She's the executive director. She joined SIL in November of 2013. Kathy's been an advocate for persons with disabilities for over 35 years, working to increase access to the community, influence program development, administration, implementation. Kathy is presented on the local, state, and national levels on issues impacting the lives of persons with disabilities, and she serves on a number of regional, state coalitions and committees. She's a licensed social worker with a degree in vocational rehabilitation from the University of Wisconsin-Stout. Her interests include knitting, reading, and photography. Kathy lives on the west side with her husband and 2 cats. She's Tahiti's favorite grandma. So tell us, it's nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us. And I have to say, Tahiti, for those who don't know what we're talking about, Tahiti is a service animal that is in our office and here today with us.
And I think that Tahiti has a very special friend in Lisa Marin. And Lisa's with us here today. She's the Consumer Empowerment Specialist, has a lifelong experience with a disability, and has devoted her life to improving the lives of people with disabilities. Lisa's been with SIL since 1997. She has a bachelor's degree in psychology from Ursuline College and a master's in education in rehabilitation counseling from Kent State University. Lisa served on the Ohio Governor's Council for People with Disabilities and numerous other committees. In Lisa's spare time, she enjoys writing, reading, and sitting by the lake. Her life and independence are enhanced by her service dog, Tahiti. And Tahiti is such a sweetheart. Tahiti is here right under the desk, just chilling.
Yeah, he's actually napping right now. It's okay.
It's okay. It's cool. So we're glad to have everyone here today in the studio. We also have another guest. I'm going to have her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm Lisa's assistant on the weekends. I'm happy to be here.
So, everybody is here and ready to talk, and we would like to hear from you. So if you have a question or a comment, you can join our conversation today by calling 216-578-1490. That's 216-578-1490. If you or your family have been served by Services for
Independent Living,
Services for Independent Living, then you should give us a call. 216-578-1490. If you have questions about what Services for Independent Living might be able to do for you or a loved one, please give us a call, 216-578-1490. So I want to talk about something really important. The American Disabilities Act is celebrating its 27th year. So one of the questions that we always ask on the show is, okay, wasn't the ADA created so people can't discriminate against people with certain disabilities?
Absolutely. The issue is, well, first of all, the ADA is the very first comprehensive civil rights act for people with disabilities. We've had bits and pieces of other acts throughout the years, but the ADA is it. The issue for us as an agency that works with people with disabilities of all ages is that the ADA is still being under attack. And we still have issues of accessibility, access to programs, access to community businesses. We get a number of calls just on those types of issues alone. In one of our programs, we have a staff person who is an ADA guru, and she will go out and do an accessibility survey for businesses. And we're working right now with Playhouse Square. So it's phenomenal.
That's fantastic. So I think on your website you talk about being able to power the voice of the consumer voice. What does that mean?
That to me is the joy, and then I'm going to pass it over to Lisa. That to me is the joy of working for what's known as the Center for Independent Living, which Services for Independent Living is. And CILs, or Centers for Independent Living, are agencies that try to increase access to the community for people with disabilities. And if you were in our office, we look different than most social service agencies, and we act different than most social service agencies. By law, the majority of our staff are people with disabilities. So we have people with physical disabilities, with behavioral health disabilities, with learning disabilities as staff. We basically walk the walk. And then to take it a step further, our leadership team by law has to be at least a majority people with disabilities, as is of our board of directors. So it's inherent to everything that we do. But Lisa, did you want to add something?
Yes. I live and breathe independent living every day.
She lives and breathes independent living every day.
And I empower my consumers to live as independent as possible.
She empowers consumers to live independently as well.
And our services are consumer directed.
And the services are consumer directed.
They tell us what they want to do.
And they tell us what they want and need us to do.
For many of our consumers, this is the first time.
So for many consumers, this is their first time asking for services.
They are in control of their lives.
They're in control of their lives, yes.
It's awesome. I love this work as I am.
Lisa's very prideful and loves her work.
I'd like to add one other thing, too, is that so often many of the people that we work with or that come to us have been told, no, you can't do. So when they're told to dream and think about what it is that they want to do, and we'll try to make that happen.
Well, as you can hear, I have a severe disability.
And as you could hear, Lisa has a severe disability.
Yeah. When someone tells me that they can do something,
And when someone tells her she cannot do something,
or they can do wrong, I say you're right.
that they are wrong
And they can do it.
and that you can do it. Yes.
Lisa's, you're living proof. You're living
Exactly.
proof. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're so glad you're here because you could tell us a little bit about what, the challenges are. I think that the society thinks that if someone is missing a function or doesn't have the same function as they do, the idea is to fix the person.
Exactly.
But actually, shouldn't we be looking at ways to accommodate everyone where they are in the lane they're in?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I
It's
think
like I always say, judge me for my ability and not my disability.
Yes.
That's always something that I've been taught since I was a kid. I can remember the day the ADA law was passed, and my mother had called me into the living room, and she made me sit down, and she said, this is going to impact you for the rest of your life. So I paid very close attention to it, and 27 years later, it's a lot that's been accomplished, but it's still a lot of work that needs to be done.
Oh, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
our founding director was at the White House lawn when the ADA was signed, which is, I mean, she did a lot of work on that as well. But it's you had talked about meeting the person where they're at, so it's not fixing the person, but it's maybe fixing the environment that the person is in. And how do you
Exactly.
accommodate things? And
Right.
I do everything in what else does.
Lisa can do anything anyone else does, and
But-
that she does.
Absolutely.
I see it every weekend.
But it may not be in the typical way.
It might not be in the typical way. Yes, you're right. You're
But
right.
it gets done.
But
Yes.
it doesn't have to be
Yeah,
the
in the
typical way.
typical way,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
what we're talking about. So I think on your website you talk about breaking down attitudinal barriers.
yes.
So could we talk a little bit about that?
We do that on multiple levels, whether it's direct service or we do quite a bit of systems change work, working with legislators, and a number of us, including Lisa, sit on rules committees. So as Medicaid is trying to change how they're providing services, we sit on those rule committees. So we break down those attitudinal barriers that way. But one of the hardest attitudinal barrier I think that we have that we're tasked with is breaking down the consumer's perception of themselves and what they can or cannot do. And that our staff work with on a daily basis. And
Or those attitude barriers that the consumer has.
There's many barriers that the consumer has.
They are caused by their environment.
they're caused by their environment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The once again, if we change the environment, attitudes change.
So change the environment to change the attitude.
Yes,
And I agree with Lisa
yeah,
with that. As far as society needs to go, they need more education and they need more
Yeah.
understanding.
And that's one of
Exactly.
the things that we do quite a bit of. I'm just finishing up.
Keep going. No, no, keep
okay, I'm
going.
just finishing up a federal report. So I have numbers in my head right now.
Share.
So
Yes.
we, in looking at the professional development program that we run, we teach people. We work with professionals working with people with disabilities, about working with people with disabilities, about the independent living philosophy, consumer choice, person-centered planning, and how to really make that real to the person. And we teach, we talk on the ADA and just a number of different topics, trying to give them the skills to really work effectively or work better with people with disabilities. So we reached over, I want to say about 1,100 people 1,100 professionals, whether it's a social worker or new docs that are coming out of Case Western and their medical school. We've been involved with those. Physical therapists, students, we're working with them. And trying to get them to really understand that disability doesn't mean you can't do. It might mean that you're going to do it a little bit differently, but you can still do. And that people with disabilities aren't numbers, they're not diagnoses, and there are people with worth and value to this community.
and there are the people with big invisible disabilities.
And there's a lot of people with invisible disabilities as well.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
they forget about those people.
And they forget about those people.
And some of the stats on that is that when you take a look at the spectrum of disabilities, most people's perception of disability is somebody in a wheelchair or somebody using a walker or a cane, something that you can see. But I've read in the research anywhere between 70 and 90% of the people with disabilities have invisible disabilities. That's a huge number.
That is a
One
That's a big number.
1 in 5 people have disability.
1 in 5 people have a disability.
And that's taken from our last U.S. Census. And we think that that number is really low. Because when you think about it, how many people do you know that don't identify as someone with a disability, yet they have a learning disability that's undiagnosed, or depression, something that impacts their day-to-day living?
So 1 in 5 people, so in the United States, 1 in 5 people face a challenge. So it should be pretty, not necessarily obvious, but we should have more understanding, it would seem. We're talking about 1 in 5 people. So where's the disconnect? Where are we missing? Is it the part where you said undiagnosed? Is that part of?
No, it's not. These are people who have been identified as people with disabilities, at 1 in 5. Part of the issue with the disability community is that it's very fragmented by disability, by age, by funding source for the service delivery systems. It's very difficult to get everybody together, and that's one of the things that we work on with our advocacy work, and bringing everybody to the table. And it's not always easy.
So let's talk a little bit about your advocacy work and what you do in the community.
Oh, that's a topic near and dear to my heart.
That's the fun stuff.
That's the fun stuff.
That's the fun stuff.
Not only we look at advocacy on multiple levels. First, there is helping someone with a disability to, we call it finding your voice and being able to speak up for yourself on certain issues. And all of SIL staff do that with people that they're working with. So that's one level. Then on another level, the staff will work on behalf of somebody that may not be able to speak up for themselves at that time or might need some extra help. And then there's the systems change advocacy, and that's where we sit on rules committees and meet with legislators or people who have the power to make a difference. And we have, right now, we have a transportation coalition that meets, it meets monthly. We're going to go to quarterly, but to talk about transportation barriers and how do you address these. And then on the state level, we're working on transportation as well. And we just finished 2 community forums on transportation advocacy.
So transportation is an issue for all of us. I mean, we're in a big city. We have some public transportation, but it doesn't necessarily get everyone everywhere. It doesn't run all the time. And so we worry and we wonder about that for ourselves. And so if you had an added challenge to the transportation, I mean, the things that you can see are, well, can you get to the stop? Could you can you be sheltered at the stop? Can you get on the bus without help? So what are we talking about when we're saying we're trying to make transportation inclusive?
That is a huge question. I look at transportation as this onion that has so many different layers, and every time you peel off something, here comes another layer. One of the biggest issues is funding. Another issue is attitudinal. Another one is capacity. Public transportation can only do so much, but there are multiple other types of transportation options that we can take a look at. So how do we blend those together? Whether it's accessible bikes for the bike ped people. Accessible, you had mentioned the getting to the bus stop, the accessible sidewalks. Are there even sidewalks? Can they cross county lines? Can they work on weekends? I mean, it's just a huge, huge issue. And at least now people are starting to talk about it, and they're starting to talk about it on the state and the federal levels. But it's a very complicated subject.
Absolutely. It absolutely sounds like it is. And I think that, you know, it's great that you're bringing more awareness. I think we want to talk about that a little bit more. So I know that we're coming up here on a break, so we're going to take a quick break. You can run and grab a snack and get to the phone, 578-1490. You're listening to Starfish Speaks.
insurance, SR22 insurance, homeowners insurance, or commercial insurance. Call 216-691-9227 for a free insurance quote. With over 22 years of experience, Washington & Company Insurance Agency will save you money on your auto, SR22, homeowners, or commercial insurance with liability starting as low as $35 a month and full coverage starting as low as $70 a month. Whatever your insurance needs are, call 216-691-9227. Washington & Company Insurance Agency for a free quote.
Are you addicted to drugs or alcohol? Even if you think you might have a problem, call this number right now for free information. 800-610-4417. That's 800-610-4417. By calling the Addiction Rehab Specialist, you're taking the first steps to recovery. Their advisors are ready to match you with a proven 5-star facility right now. The call is free and the information is free. 800-610-4417. The federal government says you can have up to 90 days off work for treatment. And if you have insurance through your employer, it could mean little to no cost to you. This free call is completely confidential. Seriously, pick up the phone and call us now. Our advisors are standing by. 800-610-4417. 800-610-4417. That's 800-610-4417. 800-610-4417. Addiction Rehab Specialist is a network of independent treatment centers and placement services nationwide.
Everything you need to know about Cleveland sports, news, weather, and more is at newstalkcleveland.com. For instant updates, follow us on Facebook at newstalk1490 and on Twitter at newstalk1490. WERE Cleveland Heights, WENZ HD2, and WZAK HD3 Cleveland.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for listening to Starfish Speaks. We're here talking with folks from the Services for Independent Living. And when we went to the break, we were talking about transportation needs, which are difficult for all of us in a metro area with public transportation. Unless you live in New York or Chicago, you're having a hard time navigating public transportation, having it meet your needs. And imagine if you had another obstacle to deal with, if it was hard for you to get to the bus stop, if it was hard for you to get down the stairs to the train, if it was hard for you to get up onto the transportation vehicle. So we're talking about that. It's important. 1 in 5 Americans have a disability. So this is an important discussion, and we want to keep talking with Catherine. We were talking a little bit about that, getting to the bus stop, getting on the bus, what people need.
One of the local issues, and actually I should say it's a national issue, is how do you get to the bus if there's no a sidewalk, or the sidewalk is torn up and you can't traverse it, either if you are ambulatory or if you use a chair? What if there's a ton of snow and you can't cross over that snowbank? And what we find is that nobody wants to take ownership of who needs to fix that. And you talk to the city and they say, oh, it's not our problem, it's RTA's problem. Well, RTA says no. So we keep. But you had talked about in the urban areas and talked about New York and Chicago. Lisa and I were in Washington, D.C. A couple of years ago, and there were a number of times on the metro that the elevators were down. So yeah, so it got
That's another issue.
Exactly. So it got kind of interesting. And then when you're taking a look at some of the transportation locally. And I have to say, RTA is very committed to getting people where they need to go, but funding is an issue. I mean, and that speaks to the capacity of what they're able to do. And I know that they are trying to do some very innovative things, which is great. But then you have people who want to, they like riding bikes, but they might need an accessible bike, a trike or something like that, or they might want to use a combination of I keep thinking about they call it multimodal, where you may not be able to get to the bus line by walking and you're not eligible for RTA for whatever reason, so maybe there's a bus or a bike access, so you can bike up to it, but if you don't have an accessible bike, you can't get to that bus. So it's very convoluted. It's a convoluted system.
That sounds like it. And I wonder if people think they see accommodations and don't realize it's enough. People see the special transit that RTA has, and they think, well, okay, there's a bus provided, so everything is okay. That takes care of everything. Is that part of not getting more folks in the public on board and making this more of a entire community issue?
I don't know about that. I almost think it's that it gets down to the attitudinal issues again. That people think that, well, there's a sense of entitlement, and when it's a right. It should be a civil right. Everybody should be able to get to where they need to go, need to get to work, to take part in family issues. And Lisa, you were going to add on?
It is a part of the ADA.
It is a part of the ADA.
But there's continued barriers.
There's continued barriers.
Yeah, and that's the challenge we have. I think we have a caller here on the line, so we're going to welcome a caller. Thanks for calling in to Starfish Speaks.
Hi, thanks. This is Donna, and I was actually calling in because it is 27 years after ADA, and I oftentimes have families who, children with autism, have a service dog, and the schools are so resistant to allowing the service dog to be with the student in school, oftentimes stating that the other children may be scared of the dog or may have allergies or these kind of things. How do you overcome, people being, scared of dogs or, people using allergies as a reason not to allow you to have your service dog with you?
All right, that's a great question from our normal host. It's good to hear from you, Donna, although I know you sound a little bit under the weather. So what do you guys say to that?
I'm going to take my answer offline.
Okay.
I will address that. I will address that.
Lisa's going to address that.
Because
Yeah.
I use it to stop every day.
You use Tahiti every day, and that's her therapy dog.
Service dog.
Service dog.
And under the NDA, I am allowed to everywhere I go.
And under the ADA, you're allowed to take her wherever you go.
But that doesn't mean everyone welcomes her.
And everyone does welcome.
No.
Not everyone
Not
welcomes her.
everyone. This comes down to stereotypes of dogs.
Comes down to stereotypical
Of dogs.
of dogs.
Some people are afraid.
Some people are afraid
Some people are allergic.
or allergic.
And it's real. But my dog and most service dogs are very well behaved.
Lisa's service dog, as well as most other service dogs, are very well trained and behaved.
And they're very well taken care of.
And very well taken care of.
So, then we amenable. Then the dog. Then
There's a problem sometimes with the dog dander and for allergies. But I'm going to add on. But the bottom line, it's the law. And so there has to be a way to come to a meeting of the minds to, and I think that each situation is it's very individualized, and so you work it out. There are ways to work it out.
I have come across a couple places that did not want my service dog in their establishment.
So there's been a couple places that Lisa has come encountered with that have declined.
Yeah, but I didn't leave.
But she didn't leave.
Because I educate people
Because Lisa educates people
on the law.
on the law.
They weren't happy. They weren't.
They weren't happy, but she educated them.
Is the a lot of what we do every day is education.
A lot of what Lisa and the company does is educate on a daily basis
Because they don't know.
because they don't know.
If I could add something in, if there's somebody that's listening that is having that, and this is an issue for them, please feel free to call us, and we will help on their behalf. That's something that
Most
we do.
definitely.
And go ahead and give your information then. Right now, this is a good time.
Sure. Our phone number is 216-731-1529, and that's Services for Independent Living.
And can they, the website?
The website is sil-oh.org.
And can they tweet you?
They can, but I couldn't tell you the tweet address right off the I know how to tweet, but I don't know the address.
Well, everybody has to be able to access you on Twitter, so let's see if we can figure it out. But yeah, so this is a great opportunity to ask about that, because so if Lisa goes in somewhere and someone has the right to say, do they have the right to say I can't accommodate this?
No.
No, they don't. But they 90% of the time they don't know the law.
90% of the time, they do not know the law.
So it's a opportunity for me to
So it's an opportunity to teach and educate.
And that's how we look at advocacy, as teaching and educating and having people really understand what the issues are and why. But where this is a real issue is going back to transportation, is in transportation. If you have an accessible cab or a cab that's, or some of the TNCs, the Ubers and Lyfts of this world, they will bypass. We've known them to bypass individuals who are either in chairs or who have service animals.
Yeah.
And
I've experienced that with an Uber a few times, and I've told, even when I, made the ride or whatever, and they came to get me, I specifically told the driver, I can get out of the chair. All you have to do is just fold it up and put it in the trunk. Well, I can't do that, and this. So yeah, I've dealt with that a few times.
it's an issue.
Yeah, it's a big issue.
And that's something that we're working on with a statewide coalition.
Right.
There was a situation about a year ago.
There was a situation about a year ago.
I asked a Uber driver,
That you had an Uber driver?
not me,
Oh.
someone else.
Someone else had an Uber driver.
They wanted to put the service dog in the trunk.
They wanted to put the
Put the
service dog in the trunk?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was appalled.
Lisa was appalled when she heard that.
That's amazing.
I'm not sure what happened to that situation. I'm not sure what happened.
You're not sure what happened
With that situation.
with that situation?
That's crazy.
Was that here in Ohio, Lisa?
I don't know. A coworker emailed me an article.
Oh, there's an article. Okay.
Okay. And so there has to be more awareness, obviously, and there's always a challenge with what you do for enforcement. At the moment you're standing there waiting to get in the Uber, there isn't someone there to enforce the law for you. So a lot of it's whether you're able to, like you said, you try to empower everyone to speak their needs, whether you're able to voice the need, and then also whether you get a response from the person, the Uber driver, the taxi driver, the person you need.
I think we should just take Lisa and just name her the enforcer. Because she gets results. You know?
She does.
Yeah,
Firsthand.
Lisa gets results.
I would like to make a comment about what you said.
You want to make a comment about what they said?
About voicing.
About enforcing?
Voicing.
Voicing?
Yeah.
Voicing.
Voicing.
And yeah, I have a speech impairment.
You have a speech impairment.
And a lot of people don't want to take the time to listen.
And a lot of people don't want to take the time to listen. And that's a shame because Lisa is one of the most loving and caring and funny people that I've ever met and known.
Right.
You never saw me when I get mad.
I never seen you when you got mad yet. Oh no.
I have. She is the enforcer. When it's a social injustice, watch out.
I just want to say, always listen to people and ask them to repeat.
Always listen and ask to repeat.
And ask to repeat.
I do it all the time, don't I, Lisa?
Oh, yeah.
I do. I do.
I've actually been involved with SIL. I was first introduced to them my junior year of high school, so that was my first encounter with Lisa. That was some years ago, so to see her now, it's like, hey, that's Lisa. I remember her.
You know, you make me feel very old.
Oh, you make her feel very old.
No, she's not old. That's just my appreciation. That's my way of saying thank you. But no, can you inform our viewers or let them know about your personal assistance program?
Okay. One of the things that we do is we look at personal assistance services from a wide variety. The systems change, and then we do a personal assistance program that actually Lisa runs. And so I'm going to turn it over to Lisa.
The enforcer, like I said.
The personal care assistance program.
Personal care assistance
program
program
is a state program
is a state program
that allows up to 35 hours a week
that allows up to 35 hours a week
of personal care for people who need help.
For care for people who need help.
With at least 3 activities of daily living.
They need to have need at least 3 activities of daily living.
Yes.
And real quick, personal assistance services are services that that they hire or they bring somebody else on to do for them that they would normally do for themselves if they didn't have a disability.
Yes. It enable them to be more independent.
It enables them to be more independent.
Now, the word independent means something different to us.
So more independence.
The word independent.
The word independent.
The word independence, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Means that different to us.
Doesn't mean
it means the control.
Means to be in control.
Yeah, it
Okay,
doesn't
and we're
mean
going
doing
to
it by
talk about
yourself.
that in control and being by yourself when we come back from the break. Thank you.
Sorry.
Moving like a dancer in a perfect dream.
Do you need auto insurance, SR22 insurance, homeowners insurance, or commercial insurance? Call 216-691-9227 for a free insurance quote. With over 22 years of experience, Washington & Company Insurance Agency will save you money on your auto, SR22, homeowners, or commercial insurance with liability starting as low as $35 a month and full coverage starting as low as $70 a month. Whatever your insurance needs are, call 216-691-9227. Washington & Company Insurance Agency for a free quote. Money Talk with Bob Brinker.
This is the program that helps you to learn how to become your own personal financial manager so you can take charge of your personal financial future. It is that knowledge that you acquire that empowers you to control your financial future and enables you to sidestep those sharks that are out there trying to take a bite out of your wallet.
Money Talk with Bob Brinker, Sundays 7 to 10 p.m. on News Talk 1490 WERE and streaming live on BlackPlanetRadio.com.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, the IRS just hired 4 giant private collection agencies to track down folks who owe the IRS. So if you think dodging them was stressful in the past, it's going to get a whole lot tougher. Optima Tax Relief has this advice. Don't wait. Solve your tax problems now, before it's too late. Optima works to stop the demand letters, stop the aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS collection agencies from targeting you. Ask Optima about the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, and nobody knows this program better than they do. Optima is A-rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they get results, having resolved over $500 million in tax debt for their clients. Get a fresh start. Call today for your free consultation.
Call 800-279-6822. 800-279-6822. 800-279-6822.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
WERE Cleveland Heights, WENZ HD2, and WZAK HD3 Cleveland.
Thanks for listening to STARFISH Speaks this afternoon on News Talk 1490. And we were talking a little bit about independence and what it takes to be independent. And when you're independent and you have your phone and you're ready to tweet, this is what you should do.
Okay. SIL's Services for Independent Living's contact information is, so first of all, the Twitter is at SIL_OH. Our website is sil-oh.org, and the phone number is 216-731-1529.
There's all kinds of services that you can take advantage of, but we were talking a little bit about what it takes to be independent and where we were going with that.
Right,
Yeah.
and when we were talking about independent, a lot of times you think, oh, well, you have to do everything by yourself, and that's not true. Nobody does everything in a vacuum. We all rely on other people. But the independent living philosophy and being independent in our world is being in control of how things are being done. So it might be, and Lisa, I'm going to use you as an example. It might be that you can't, open that door, but you can tell Tahiti to open that door. And so, but then you were talking before about the PCA program?
Yeah, the PCA program is a wonderful program.
The PCA program is a wonderful program
For anyone who is looking
for anyone who is working,
looking
or
in school.
or in school.
Their ultimate goal is improvement.
Ultimate goal is to improve
Employment. So, the individual is in control of their own business. The person is in charge of their own PCA.
The person is in charge of their own PCA.
The entire do all the steps. They have to hire
They have to hire
and train,
train, pay
their own PTA.
their own PCA.
And the state reimburses them.
And then the state reimburses them.
We cover a lot. We cover 11 counties in Ohio.
We cover 11 counties in Ohio.
I travel a lot.
She travels a lot.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Awesome. And so now we have a phone call I think we want to take. And this is Sherry we have. Thanks for calling STARFISH Speaks.
Yeah, I have a two-part question. With the PCA program, you need assistance. I was wondering how hard it is to find those assistants and keep those assistants. And also, do you think that those assistants are paid a fair wage? I will listen.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you, Sherry.
Oh, man.
It is really hard to find good qualified assistants.
It's very hard to find good assistants.
It's probably one of the hardest things about finding this.
It's a lot harder.
It's one of the
It's one of the hardest things about her disability.
Yeah. And she asked about the rate of pay.
Sherry asked about the rate of pay.
It's not near what it should be.
It is not as near as what it should be.
The state reimburses minimum wage.
The state reimburses
minimum wage.
Minimum wage.
Minimum wage.
And it's nothing when you can go work at McDonald's and make more.
And that's nothing if you can work at McDonald's and make more.
And the need and what you're talking about, the work you're talking about is so important. So,
because a lot of my consumers need the PCAs to get up in the morning.
A lot of the people need the PCAs there to help them get up to start their day.
it's a basic
Begin with
need.
in the.
It's a basic need. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Lisa. I think
Can
Greg
you-
had a question. Yeah.
Yeah, can you give us some information on your leadership program?
Absolutely. That to me is the coolest program that we have. It's, in fact, it's a pilot program for us right now, and we are the only one in Ohio that's doing it. Basically, we talked before about advocacy and having people stand up for themselves, and then we as staff working on behalf of people with disabilities. But there's a next level. We really believe strongly that if there's going to be systems change, the people that are being impacted by that systems change, they need to have their voices heard as well.
Exactly.
And so more and more people are saying, well, we need to have people with disabilities at the table. But the issue is that the folks that they have at the table don't have a clue what they're doing, how to sit at a systems change level type of a committee. And so we're teaching them. So that's exactly what the Leadership Committee or Leadership Academy does. It helps people to gain the skills that they need to sit on community task forces, statewide committees, boards of directors. And in fact, I've got my eye on somebody in one of the recent classes for my board of directors. She just doesn't know about it yet, but I'm watching her because I want her.
I see this sounds not only like fun, but it's educational and it's informative, and ultimately, that's what it's about.
Yes.
Do you all still have your summer program?
Which
I was
Lisa's going to speak on that.
We do not have a summer youth program at this time.
Okay.
We do not have the summer program at this time.
But we do serve youth. We do serve youth.
We do serve youth.
And I like to talk about that.
Okay.
Let Kathy talk about that.
Yes, we have a new contract with Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities.
Okay.
And
OOD.
so OOD, the
All
old
right.
BVR, yes.
Okay.
And the whole goal of this program is to work with youth, 14 to, I want to say 24, to gain advocacy skills. So if anybody out there has somebody that's younger that's in the school systems in Lake Geauga or Cuyahoga counties and want to develop their advocacy skills, we'd be glad to talk to you about that. That's exactly what we're going to be doing.
Well, that probably leads us to a good question. How can our listeners get involved with SIL?
Oh, call us. Please call us. If you're a person in need, call us. Definitely. The phone number again is 216-731-1529. We're always looking for good board members. And again, remember that the majority of our board have to be people with disabilities. And we're also looking for individuals that can help mentor other folks and provide peer support. So we have a lot of different volunteer opportunities.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds like you guys do a lot for not just Cleveland, but I want to say the state of Ohio, and that says a whole lot.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
So I have a quick question about our sleeping friend. How long have you had your service dog, Lisa?
I had Tahiti for 3 years now.
She's had Tahiti for 3 years now.
She is a 5-year-old yellow lab.
She's a 5-year-old yellow lab.
And she actually is my second service dog.
And Tahiti is Lisa's second service dog.
Before Tahiti was Anna.
Before Tahiti, there was Anna.
And that was for 10 years.
Anna worked for Lisa for 10 years.
And she is me for sleep in April.
And she was put to sleep in April.
She will be 15 years old in June.
She would have been 15 years old in June.
Lisa, can you talk a little bit about what Tahiti does for you?
Yeah, sure. Tahiti is very, very smart.
Tahiti is very, very smart.
She can open doors.
She could open doors.
The kind with the push button.
The kind with the push button.
And also one with like a rope on the lever.
And if you had a rope on the lever, she could pull that and open the door.
She picked up what I dropped.
She could pick up whatever Lisa drops.
She always stuff around for me.
She carries stuff around for Lisa.
Let it look. I have a plastic envelope.
And at work, she's got a plastic envelope
That I can put paper in.
that she could bring paperwork in.
And she carries it. So it doesn't slobbery.
And she carries it and gets it all slobbery.
She also takes off my socks
She also takes off Lisa's socks
every night.
every night.
And she is a sort of unconditional love.
And she shows unconditional love.
And she loves him.
And she loves.
I'm Tahiti's grandma.
Oh.
When we traveled to Washington D.C., Tahiti, I took care of Tahiti, and Lisa's aide took care of her, and so we bonded. She's my baby girl.
She almost puts me in the mind of Air Bud, the Disney movie with the basketball. With the basketball playing dog. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
She looks just like Air Bud, too.
Yeah, she does. That's why I said it's almost like Air Bud, man.
Service dogs can be certified to do all kinds of things, including bringing the phone to their owners.
Yeah.
They can make a phone call, summoning others to alert to come into the room.
Yes.
And they know when an owner needs medicine. And there's just everything that they can do. The cost, though, a service dog can't be cheap. This is a lot of training.
I was just about to ask. I know this wasn't cheap.
No, it takes almost 2 years to train a service dog. 18 months.
It does. The organization.
There's an organization
I got Tahiti from.
that Lisa got Tahiti from.
It's a nonprofit.
It's nonprofit.
And they don't charge anything.
And they do not charge anything
for the dog.
For the dog.
It's all fundraisers and donations.
It's all fundraisers.
And donations.
And donations.
But the person is going to Columbus for 2 weeks.
The person has to travel to Columbus for 2 weeks.
For the training.
For the training and acclimation.
To learn what the dog already knows.
To learn about the dog and your needs.
So that is the part.
That's the expensive part.
But there are other organizations that charge quite a bit with the dog.
There are other organizations out there that do charge a lot of money for service dogs.
So you might as well say Tahiti is family, basically.
Oh, but she's my daughter.
That is Lisa's daughter. That is.
Yeah, because I noticed earlier as we were coming in, she was carrying your phone, and I'm like, that is like the coolest thing.
So I think we're talking about Canine Companions. And so if folks want to go online, look up Canine Companions. They're always looking for support, so you can help support and get someone else at Tahiti when we need them. I'd like to thank all our guests that are here today. Lisa, thank you for being here. Kathy, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
And tell us again one more time the website and your phone number.
Sure. Services for Independent Living. The phone number is 216-731-1529, and the website is sil-oh.org.
And I want to thank all of our listeners for joining us today. Thanks, Greg, for being the best co-host that anyone could have, and we're wishing Dada a speedy recovery. You could always hear us 1 to 2 p.m. on News Talk 1490. You can go to the website, newstalkcleveland.com, and you can always call us with your questions. You could also tweet us, and you can find us on Facebook at Starfish Advocacy Association. And we really look forward to having you back here again next week. And we're just so grateful that we could have Tahiti and everybody here in the studio today. And so thank you so much. Thanks for listening to Starfish Speaks. We'll talk to you next week.
The proceeding was a paid program brought to you by Starfish Speaks. The views and opinions expressed are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of this station or its management.